Many artists turn to PR agents for publicity. Now, misunderstanding the role of a PR agent can seriously hurt your pockets as a new artist or new musician or even a new record label. So let me get this straight. You're seeking exposure, but you're also going after a PR agent. My question to you is why you're doing that. But number two is, are you seeking to spin a narrative about yourself, or are you seeking to initiate one? The distinction between the two and what they do may be a bit confusing, but although PR is a form of promotion, is it really the promotion that you truly need? We got to talk about this coming up right here on the Music Money Makeover Show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Music Money Makeover Show. My name is Casey Graham, and I've seen a number of record labels on the come up spend a lot of money on PR that never really amounted to anything. I don't know what they thought they were going to get from it, but they just wasted a bag with it. And because they did, the label failed at that. They ran through all the money and it was like, well, we got to find a new place or a new bag to, to attach ourselves to. So we need to talk about what PR is really going to do for you. Because when I was on the come up, if we needed some write-ups, which is really what most people are trying to get initially, you can just reach out to them, right? As long as you have some traction, you can make it happen. So let's jump into today's show. Positioning you in the market or genre as a new leader is where we need to start. So let's take a look at my base level equation right here. Ultimately, the way we got to new leader was because over the last two videos we put out, we talked about defining your unique characteristics, what's really going to make you unique. And at this point, now we can say, once we've niched you down, we say, okay, this is the new leader in the genre, the ultimate genre, if you will. So we're going to have a new leader plus genre plus the interest, right? Your personal interest plus the age plus the location equals a PR campaign narrative. And I'm going to say intro, all right? Because that's ultimately where you're coming from. People want to know who you are and what are you about, the genre. What are you interested in, right? Because if they can know the interest on paper, they can kind of see it through just a simple paragraph and the age and where you're coming from. They can really understand, okay, this is where we're going to start our story. Now, of course, this can go way more in depth than what I'm talking about, but I'm kind of giving you a synopsis of this. A PR campaign always aims to position the artist as a leader because who else would draw attention or be worthy of a story if not a leader in a particular genre, lane, category. You understand what I'm saying? This is why you start small and narrow instead of big and broad. All of the above components make up a PR campaign narrative. You understand what I'm saying? And there's so much more that goes into it. I'm not a PR agent, but this is some base level information that they can start to begin to spin something on. Of course, they'll need a little bit more. Now let's look at our genre and interest. The interest depends upon which groups you aim to penetrate. Clubgoers, smokers, fashionistas, etc. Pairing your genre with a related interest group cultivates a focused reader or a listener group. It does. So when we go back and look at our genre and interest here, it's like, all right, well, hip-hop listeners who do XYZ, or country listeners, sorry, country world, I like country music, country listeners who drive Chevys versus country music listeners who drive Fords. You get what I'm saying? And then you have the country music listeners that drive, Tacomas and 4Runners and Tundras. You have the Toyota guys. So you see how I just niched it a little bit? So pairing your genre with a related interest group cultivates a focused reader or listener group. We're only going to target these guys. We'll do a campaign with Toyota because it will make sense because you're interested in Toyota. So if you are, then we're going to do it with Toyota. And we're going to aim for that, right? Our backup will be Ford. You know what I'm saying? And you can do this with your local dealerships. But you get what I'm saying. Age helps determine the media outlets that you target first. This way, you avoid irrelevant outlets that don't resonate with your age group when your listeners aren't even tuning in. Okay? So now, if let's say we got the Toyota country music listener, right? Then we're going to target probably the age group that's going to drive Tacomas, right? Because those are going to be a little bit younger than the guys driving Tundras because it's easier to buy a Tacoma, right? And then we're going to position ourselves in a way where we can either run a local ad campaign with our music in it, or we're going to do a write-up in a local paper that we do XYZ with Toyota, or if we're bigger, we're just going to do a whole regional campaign with Toyota with the Tundra for the younger age group that listens to country music. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we got to look at location stages. Stories must be narrated at each level. Here are examples of how narratives can be spun at each stage. Check it out. This is your local stage. A local sensation introduces a fresh take on hip-hop, partnering with Toyota, whatever. This artist is rocking the region thanks to such and such, thanks to a Toyota something something. All right, and then from the national level, is this artist the future of hip-hop? You know what I mean? This is how it goes. On a national level, if you make a claim like this, people are going to be like, the audacity that you would say someone's the future of hip-hop. But then if you're in a regional area or a local area, a local sensation introduces a fresh take on hip-hop. Everybody in the local area is going to be like, yo, who is that? Do I know him? In the region, they're going to be like, oh, okay. All right, dope, man. We're going to jump on the bandwagon for this guy or lady. You know what I mean? So now, will I need a PR agent for this? In many cases, no. Especially if you're savvy enough. You might just need a little help from your team to get the stories rolling. But as your buzz builds, journalists may write about you on their own initiative. This is true, but you may have to control it. I'm just saying. So if they write about you on their own initiative, and they're still in line with what your values are, then cool. But what if journalists start portraying my image incorrectly without my input? Well, if that happens, it's time to hire a real PR agent to steer the narrative back in a positive direction. So if they say, this guy, country music rising star bails out on Toyota deal, Toyota sues, blah, blah, blah. And you have to say, look, this is my side of the story. You know what I mean? I'm for the children. I'm out here shaking hands and kissing babies. It was a bad situation that went left. Everything's all good, right? So, because you don't want to tarnish your image, especially when someone can make claims. We know rumors are out there. The rumor mill is out there, and people do what they want to do, and they say what they want to say. And these are all tactics, if you will, because rumors can come out when someone wants to do something to your image to move you out of the market. This is the wars, the media wars, if you will, or the info wars, if you will. Now, people don't really read blogs. What about influencers? Okay, well, true. People may not read blogs as much as they used to, but they do notice headlines, which can shape the narrative faster than a blog. So collaborating with influencers can also quickly shift your narrative with enough concentrated posts. So even if you don't have the PR, you can do this through influencers. But if you really want to spin it faster, getting a write-up about you is even better than having the influencer, because when people hear a claim or a rumor about something, the first thing they're going to go do is Google it, not necessarily search on TikTok about it. Not in this instance. Some people will search on TikTok, but if you can take over that top page and it has a bunch of influencers talking positively about you, great. When you go to Google search and something came up, if you can get a couple write-ups going in the media or in the blogs that spins your narrative in a certain way, then great. This is what we really hire our PR agent to do, okay? It's not the promotion that you thought you were going to get, in the beginning, because ultimately we're telling a story over an extended amount of time. That's what the PR agent is in place for. Let's get to work. Create a narrative based on the formula and begin to tell your story from that headline. Check out mine. YouTuber turns an online music business consulting firm into a development and investment agency for music artists in Atlanta. I know that was kind of long-winded, but I just wanted to give you an example. Ultimately, let's begin to design your story. You can use my formula. There's other story formulas out there. You can use the hero's journey. You can use the Donald Miller method, which is my favorite. And design your story around yourself so you can begin to tell it over time. Again, all this creative stuff is great, but it's even better when you have a foundation to build it upon. You know where I'm going with this. The logical side is necessary. The business side is necessary. The creative side, yes, it's necessary, but you got to have both. Therefore, I've created this. It's called the 60-Day Record Label Course. It's a framework to establish your record label in a perfect 60-day sequence. Artists are record labels by default, and so therefore we need an LLC and a bank account to establish the foundation that we're going to add these other accounts to. We're going to set up your records and publishing division to collect domestic and international publishing royalties without the middleman taking 15%. We got a little rise to the top, but we want to get the middleman out the way before we start making significant deals here. We need them out of the way. And then we're going to utilize the contract templates to get you in the game right away. All this stuff you see right here is covered in the course. BMI, ASCAP, Sound Exchange, the MLC, Music Reports, Harry Fox Agency, Luminate, AllMusic, ISRC.com, music distributors, and much more. It's all down below in the description. You can grab it there. But ultimately, before you start, or before you finish, or after you finish the course, book a call with me, because ultimately we have to develop a strategy for you to win. This course is necessary for you to build a foundation, and all the stuff I talked about today is necessary to develop a narrative about yourself. But book a call right down below. Grab the free stuff below if this is your first time watching the show. Ultimately, here's where success lies in the narrative. Controlled narrative, targeted exposure, increased opportunities, leadership positioning, resource efficiency, long-term career growth. I mean, come on. That's really what we're going to get from spinning the narrative about ourselves to the media, through social media or through standard media. Failure to control your story leads to an uncontrolled narrative, misdirected resources, and stagnant growth. Ultimately, if you go back and watch the advertising video that we talked about a few days ago, or I don't know when it was, I think it was last week. But when we talked about that, you'll understand that we need the public relations to grow. Public relations is our foundation to advertising. Therefore, if we're going to have some real growth, we got to define the narrative, and it can start with social media. It's cool. And then when you're ready to graduate to bigger media outlets, you can. Ultimately, this is where we want to be. Everybody, the trick is to understand PR and how it's used to spin a narrative, not as how it's used for promotion. Yeah, it can give you some promotion, but ultimately it's designed to spin a narrative. And when you can do that with storytelling, you're in there. All right, music money makers. So if you make music, you should always make money. Jump into the 60-day record label right down below. Grab the free stuff right down below. Book a call on musicmoneymakeover.com right down below. And I'll see you next time. Peace.